Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Coffee Talk.
That's right.
And real estate.
In the morning. Early Saturday morning.
I did not get enough sleep, and I'm not awake.
Right.
I'm not ready for this, but the show must go on.
That's right. Coffee helps.
That's my first sip of coffee, too. It takes a while to get all set up. Actually, it's not bad.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
She goes, put whatever you want in. I said, I don't have time. You're going to have to just make it up.
Thank you.
Anyway, so glad you can join us. If you haven't joined us in the past, we usually do this about right around 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Sometimes a few minutes after if we're running a little behind.
That's right.
But it's about this time so that you're half awake, we're half awake, we all sit down together. Just chill out, have a little cup of coffee and enjoy the day.
That's right.
Talk about the market, talk about anything in real estate that's of interest, and we do our topic of the day.
Yes.
And so last week we had an interview about roofs.
Yes.
All things roofing. Next week we have planned for a lender. And a lender is, when you go to get your mortgage, all kinds of questions we can ask about that. So we're trying to give you a lot of value content. That way you can sit back and educate.
Yeah, that's right. You don't want to miss next week.
So who we have down here, because there's a big change in the family.
Yes, there is.
One
little one.
She looks a lot different than she did the last time we showed you. So if you remember little Penelope, well, Penelope was very dark and very long hair.
Hi, baby.
But she still had that baby hair. So she got her first haircut. And now she looks like a little princess.
That's right.
You just put lipstick on her nose.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
That's okay. So now you can see her color a lot better. And so now you can see all of her facial features and everything.
Yeah.
And she's starting to calm down. Every week,
Hi.
she's a little bit more on the calmer side. And that's good. So I think Larry's starting to warm up to her and, think, hey, this isn't going to be a bad deal after all.
That's right. Well, she wants to go back to sleep.
Yeah. In the morning, it's our ding on the couch. We'll sit down here, get caught up, news, social media, whatever. We're sitting here drinking our coffee normally, and the two will sit there on your lap. When we first got her, she had nothing to do with that. She was ready to play, and Larry was like, "You don't know what the deal is here. We don't do that."
It's relaxed time.
That's right. So she's picking up now. So now she's in the relaxed state. So that's good.
That's right.
Okay. So by the way, thanks for joining us, and let's get on with the show, shall we? Outside currently on this Saturday morning, it's cold. We're at 43 degrees, so it is a little cold. It's cloudy out there. We got a little bit of light rain. Big talk is the snow coming in, for the state, and I'll talk about that later in my weather show. But for today,
I hope we get some snow.
I do too. I like the snow, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm a snow lover, so
I actually enjoy this weather as well.
That's just because it's here one day, gone the next. So you don't have to have that Canadian brutal cold and snow that sits there for 6 months.
That's right. And every time I drink coffee out of my mug, I think about that.
Yeah.
It's from my daughter.
That's true.
My favorite mug.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. From Anthropology. She came home with it as a total surprise. So.
That's little things.
It is.
That keep you in touch as family, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Keep you connected.
So, Corliss, if you're watching, that mug is for you. Okay, so on the market watch.
Yes.
What do we got?
Okay, so, it's not bad.
Yeah, honestly, every time we've done this, the market keeps moving. There was a lot of negative news, a lot of negative press, just a lot of negativity in the whole mortgage industry, in the home industry. All that's kind of starting to kind of come around and realize, okay, everybody breathe. Things are still moving.
That's right.
Now, this is Oklahoma County. So this is,
Yes.
a good chunk of the Oklahoma City metro area.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but new listings on the market. So people still sell in the wintertime.
That's right.
So 170 listings went up.
170 new listings. And then I'm just going to jump right over to the solds.
Yeah.
So there's 129 sold. So that's not a bad ratio, considering. And then there's how many that are pending.
227.
Right.
Oh, that's a lot of homes that are getting ready to have the keys handed over to the new owner.
That's great.
So here's one of the kickers in that. People are excited again because the mortgage rates are coming down.
Right.
So this is the big chart. If you go back to 1980, our mortgage rates up here were in the 17%, 18. Nobody wants that business, right?
No.
And they kind of fell down and kind of hovered around 8% for a long time in the 90s. And In the 2000s, around 6%. And then as we head into the 2010s, all around 3, bouncing around a 4, sometimes to 5. So really good rates in the last 20 years, to be honest with you.
Right.
And then, of course, we had the whole COVID fiasco, and that peaked up rates up around 7%. And then now we're back down to about 6%.
Yeah.
And 6% is really not a bad rate. Here are the current
really good.
mortgage rates in the industry. Let's see, for a 30-year fixed note, it's 6.15%.
Yeah. And 15 is 5.19. That's really good.
Yeah. So in the go ahead.
And the ARMs are becoming more popular as well.
Right. And we talked with our title company yesterday or this week.
Yeah.
About, and you were kind of talking about how in Canada a lot of times they'll do a 30-year, but they pay it biweekly.
Biweekly accelerated. Yeah.
To knock off the interest.
Oh, you knock down years off your mortgage or loan payment.
And so, and he was saying, even if you just made one additional payment,
Yes.
For that year, for the principal and the interest on that payment for your mortgage, on the back end, when that 30 years complete, you save yourself like 7 years worth of interest, which is a huge chunk of change,
And you're dropping down that amortization over the life of your mortgage as well. So, you might start off at the 30 years, but you're going to, once you start, if you pay biweekly accelerator or you make that one extra payment, you're going to knock it down 24, 25, 26 years.
Yeah. And I think, because I think I'd heard this from Dave Ramsey years ago, because I think somebody had asked him, should you do a 15-year and, pay it off quicker, faster that way? And his now he may have changed, but at the time he says, nah, do the 30, but pay it like a 15. That way, if something comes up, and you're tight on money and you can't make that extra payment, you're not obligated to do it, and you have some breathing room. Plus, you're still knocking away all the interest and
that's right,
and all that, saving a lot of money in the same process. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm sure next week when we have our lender on,
we could talk about that a lot more.
We'll touch a lot more into this
in detail. But today's topic of the day.
Yes.
Is
common real estate myths.
That's right. Common real estate myths.
There's a lot of myths out there that people think is true, and we're going to debunk those.
I was one of those until I got into the real estate industry, and I learned a lot. Still learning, but man, I wish almost everybody could have a real estate class before they even go to buy a home, just so you can see how everything works, all the moving pieces, how you understand it better, big picture. It's like anything in life. You learn it the hard way. So, it'd have been helpful to have a class like half hour, 1 hour.
Yeah.
Where that way when you're going in to purchase a home, you know what to expect. You're not scared of the process. You understand it, and you know what to watch out for.
That's right. So. I think personally they should have a finance class where they're teaching you everyday banking skills, investing skills.
Oh, now you're getting all deep in there.
Oh, I am.
Let's all go to college. Okay, Jody.
No, it starts in high school.
All right.
It starts in school.
Yeah, it does. All right, so the myth number 1. Let's get to it. All
right. So, myth number 1, selling your home by for sale by owner will save you money.
I had a friend of mine sell his home by owner, and that was a process that he wished he didn't have to ever go through again.
Right.
It didn't go so well for him.
That's right.
There was a lot of frustrations, but what do we got here for him?
Well, many sellers, they want to do it alone without hiring a real estate agent because they want to save on costs.
I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
So they feel, I just got to snap a few pictures, put up that sale sign, and I'm done. But there's a lot more involved. I mean, that's why we're the professionals. That's why we come in. So if you're going to do for sale by owner, you might leave money on the table. Meaning you run the risk of pricing your house too high, so you might not get an offer. Or in some cases, you might price it too low. And then you're not going to get full market value for your property.
So there's on the paragraph here that we summed up. Let's just go through this here real quick.
Sure.
So I like how you put on there. It's not as easy as just putting a sign out in your yard and calling it good.
No.
And taking a few pictures. You have the risk of pricing your home too high, which means it sits, or it's too low and it goes too fast, and you could have made yourself a lot more money because you don't know what the market is going for at that time that you sell it. Little insider industry tip in this market here: you don't want to look at any comparables beyond 2 months. So that's the cutoff for that. You don't want to compare the Joneses down, a year ago or even 6 months ago. The price
Everything was moving way too fast.
Everything the price they got back then is completely different today.
That's right.
So that's why you kind of hire a professional. That way they can look at that stuff for you.
That's right.
And they can negotiate with your agents, say, hey, our people want this, they need that. What can your people do? And they can work together to kind of make it more amicable. And there's a lot of knowledge in the industry among agents.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do a lot of talking amongst ourselves, and we talk about our buyers, we talk about our sellers, and the type of properties that we have if you have someone that's interested in this type of home.
And like us, we get a list of preferred partners that we work with, either that we've had a personal relationship with,
right,
we've hired and used ourselves, or we've known them forever, and we build that network so that way there's the people we trust say, hey, we have this situation. What do you say? What can you help? Or can you help them out? Go to their house and whatever. So that's a big bonus. That's a big plus.
That's right. Yeah, we'll discuss the homes that we have on market because we want to find a buyer or a seller for it. So
let's see. Also, financial and legal jargon that comes with selling a home, counter offers, contracts. Right. Potential pitfalls.
Right, and that's what we're here for. That's why we're the professionals.
And it is a full-time job.
Oh, so, it is.
Remember, if you're going to do that on your own, and you can do it,
you
need to educate yourself well in advance before you do it. You also have to note that your time, and if you can imagine, a lot of people wanting to come by, and when you're not home, which makes a problem, because it means now you got to take off work to either see them or force them in the evening.
Yeah.
Which may not go with their schedule, which means you lose out on potential buyers, or they're always coming over your dinner time, or your kids, and so it interrupts family time.
And not to mention, us as professionals, we know the types of questions we're going to ask when someone is inquiring about a certain property for sale.
Yeah. So there's just some things to keep in mind on the for sale by owner being a great deal or not.
That's right.
It takes a lot more in-depth thought than just going, let's do it.
Oh, yeah, and we're worth every cent.
And I'm a do-it-yourself guy, and I don't want to pay anyone to do anything that I can't do.
Right.
And I'll figure it out. I'll pull up the YouTube and go that way.
That's right.
So I'm one of those that would want to entertain the whole for sale by owner. But now that I'm in this industry, I see what all happens. I'm like, no way. I don't want that headache. But that's just me.
That's right.
All right, so let's go to myth number 2, which is buyers get a better deal if they don't use a realtor. So that kind of ties into the for sale by owner.
All right.
And you kind of go into the details here about commissions.
Well, if we're working with a buyer, we don't charge you to work with us. We just want your loyalty. We want your understanding that we're going to be committed and that we are a team. I'm working in your best interest, and my services are free. Just be loyal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So the other, we touched on this with the other category, but it is we help you negotiate a fair price, because nobody wants to walk away from a deal where you don't feel like you got a good deal. It's almost like buying a car. When you walk off that lot. The car auto salesman's going to make sure that you feel like you walked out of there with a good deal, whether you did or not.
Right.
We're not.
We're negotiating.
Yeah, we're not in the process of making you feel like it. We actually want you to have a good deal too. So it's not just a feeling. We pull the wool over your eyes. Like no. Well, I want you to get the same deal that I would want.
That's right.
So that's the attitude that we have in the process.
Exactly, because I'm working in your best interest as the buyer. The listing agent is working in their best interest as the listing agent. So.
All right. And again, that taps into the preferred partners that can come in, the roofers, inspectors. The list goes on as to who can give you insight as to, the value of the property and what needs to be done.
Exactly.
All that kind of stuff.
Full service.
Okay. Myth number 3, you get to keep all the commission made off a listing.
Right. So...
Now, this is, of course, dealing with you're hiring a realtor, right?
Yes.
And you're like, why? Who gets to keep the money?
Right. Why am I paying you all this money?
That's right.
You get to keep all that?
Yeah, all that.
No, we don't. Ideally, we always split the commissions half and half.
Right. So the buyers
in the ideal world, that's what happens.
There's 2 agents, obviously, the seller's agent, the buyer's agent.
Right. And in some cases, you can be both.
Yeah. In very rare case, you can both. Just make sure they sign an agreement that you have to understand that it's a
limited joint.
Yeah, it's a limited deal.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the split 2 ways, usually 50-50.
Yeah.
So that, in other words, They don't. One guy doesn't walk away with all the money.
Right. And I mean, we have expenses.
Oh yeah.
We have marketing.
There's a lot of expenses that goes up in
There's
a house.
office splits, office fees that you're paying. And what about taxes?
Yeah.
Taxes take a huge portion.
It's like any other business. You got to pay, to market, promotion.
Yes.
And you got to pay the taxes and your time, of course, driving all around. And then
Right.
going to the hardware store or the garden store and buying plants and
Yeah.
stuff to kind of spruce up the place.
That's right. Or even when you're hosting an open house and you have
Yeah, because then you have the
little goodies, little
the goodies,
treats,
the
water.
treats, gift bags, whatever it is that you come up with
That's
for open
right.
houses. Okay, do you you don't need a home inspection? Myth number 4.
Right.
Oh, this was a big one.
And you may be tempted. I mean, there was a time
Yeah.
when the market was really hot and
There was about a year there where people
you
were waiving
competing,
home inspections.
and people were competing. I always advise my home buyers to get a home inspection. You learn so much as you're walking through with that home inspector. Very valuable information.
I would hate to buy a big purchase and not know that there was something wrong, right? Big time. It's
Right.
kind of like that was the whole point of Carfax, or the automobile when you could get the I forget what it's called, but just the history of the vehicle.
Right.
Was it in a flood? Which did something happen that wasn't noted? So you'd want to know this type of thing, so you don't buy a lemon. Same thing with the home. You don't want to end up with a lemon.
Right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
let's see. Number 5.
Because
Oh, go ahead.
it's one of the biggest decisions you'll be making, right? Is purchasing that home. So come in informed, come in knowledgeable, come in confident that you're making the right decision.
So I would say marriage was probably the biggest, and then the home, then a car.
Family, what about if you can have kids?
No, that's actually, I would throw that in there too.
right. And if you're going to have a pet,
Well, there's a lot of big decisions
Yeah.
in life. Do they all come with warranties and inspections? Okay, let's move on. Number 5.
Okay.
You don't need a realtor to buy.
so a lot of folks think that they can do this on their own, and
Yeah.
a lot of times they will go, looking around at open houses, but always keep in mind that the representative that's hosting that open house is trying to sell that house.
Right.
They're the ones that are working in the interest of.
Yeah, so that's the other thing is it's a one-sided deal. In other words, I don't want to call you a mark, but let's just say you're an easy target. So you're not going to have a whole lot of negotiation ability or skills. You're not going to have a lot of insider knowledge on the back end of that property, the history of it, all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
you're going in kind of an uncharted territory, and it's better to have somebody look out for you than to do it alone. It'll happen. It's just
Right.
going to cost you a lot more money than you thought, and you might miss out on some key things that you may not have wanted to buy the
That's right.
house once you found out.
That's right. And we have searching power. We have a sphere of connections. So, and we have knowledge in writing that contract and knowing
Yeah. All right.
what's what.
Next myth, number 6.
Ooh, schools don't matter if you don't have kids. Okay. You find the perfect home. It's the right price. And you can move in. Timeline is great. Yeah, but there's more to it than just that. You are buying into a neighborhood.
Yeah, it's a community, it's a neighborhood.
It is.
I know everybody wants to live in their own little bubble, and it's true we do, but
Right.
it's part of a bigger bubble.
Right. But think about future resale. Absolutely.
And that's what I did when I moved into my house. I looked around at the area that I was in, and I said, great schools. So when I went in, if I do have to sell
Yeah.
soon, maybe sooner than later, because I think I originally didn't plan on living in my house more than 3 years, and so I want to make sure that I got a good value for my money, and so the school district was important to me, and so that helps. So that is a very major deal. Plus,
Oh, yeah.
commute to roadways, the grocery store, everything that's in your vicinity.
Yeah, for your walking score.
Yeah, all that matters. What you call it, a walking score.
That's right. And in the long run, you'll be in a better position for resale.
All right, buy the biggest home you can afford.
So that's like having the best house on the block.
Yeah, let's stretch yourself thin. Let's do it.
Right.
You're only going it once, right? Go big or go home.
Right.
Yeah, you may not want to try that. You might want to try that philosophy.
Right.
Because when you go to sell, the problem is, again, that they're going to pull houses around that one.
That's right. They're going to pull all the comparables, and sometimes there might not be anything comparable or close to it. I myself, I mean, yes, you might have the great house on the block. However, it's not always.
Yeah, the problem is you can promise price yourself. It sounds like if you do renovations in your home, okay? Let's say you've redone the
Yes.
kitchen, the bathroom, the living room, and no one else, anywhere else in your neighborhood did anything. And so now to recuperate your money, you've got to charge an extra $50,000. Well, that's going to be a lot harder when no one else is doing that. And now they can go buy their home $50,000 cheaper, and they may be happy with what was in the house. They don't even need the renovations.
Right.
So you got to be careful when you're buying the biggest home, because it's not
Biggest
just
and
about
the best.
not just about square footage, but it's just you got to keep an overall big picture.
That's right. So
viewpoint.
really ask yourself, how much house do I really need, right?
Yeah, and remember, the bigger it is, the more you got to clean, and the more stuff you got to stick in it, or it just looks empty.
Right.
That's always my thing. I'm like, I don't want too big, because then I got to buy stuff I don't even want
That's
anyway,
right.
just to make it look livable. All right, springtime is house hunting season, number 8.
Yes. I
this
get
is a
this
big one.
question a lot.
Yeah, and this is probably one of the most common discussion points in real estate, and I get it because it makes sense.
Sure. However, I feel wintertime, there's going to be a lot less competition out there for you as a home buyer. So you don't have to feel rushed. You can take your time, you be more informed, and there's still always going to be homes coming on the market for sale. People have to buy and sell.
Yeah,
So there's no, in my opinion, when the time is right for you, start looking. Or list that house when it's good for you.
it's the real estate business never closes.
Right.
It's open 24/7, 365. There's always somebody that has to move, sell, buy.
That's right.
Tough times, bonuses, whatever. There's always something getting
Right.
movement. And yes, it does slow down in the winter because it's cold. But like you said, you have a better chance to negotiate. You got a better deal that can be made on the table in those situations where you don't have a lot of
Right.
competition, and the home owner needs to sell fast.
That's right, because come spring, that's when everybody is like, oh, it's spring, it's getting nice out. People are out and about. They want to list their house. Well, now there's a lot more competition out there. A lot more. So.
And also to keep in mind, a lot of people will have to move, right? And they got to put their house up, and new job. Boss says you got to be here, cross state lines.
Right.
And great. So now my home's vacant, and I got to put it up. It's in the middle of winter. I don't want to pay all that extra bills for heating,
That's right.
water, and you have a tendency to shut it all off. That's a problem, because now you're trying to sell a home at the same time,
Yeah.
so that's an expense. So you're priced to sell. In other words, you don't want that
Absolutely.
headache. You don't want that extra expense. You'll take a few $1,000s off the front end, so you don't have to pay it on the back end of 30, 60, 90, 100 days.
That's right.
Where it's sitting there.
Absolutely.
Where it just feels cold and uninhabitable. You want it warm, inviting.
Yeah.
So you want to move. You want to get that thing going.
That's right. And a lot of folks, too, by the end of summer, they want to be settled, right, into a property.
Oh, yeah.
Because they want to get their kids back into school.
That's right. Okay, number 9.
Drop your insurance after your mortgage is paid.
Ooh, this used to be a trick in the car industry. You'd
No.
get some auto insurance, for like the 30 days, then you drop it and you drive
No,
around
yeah.
without any insurance. You can get away with it, because I had an incident like that a long time ago. You can't do that anymore, but
Yeah.
You can't pull it on the home either. And I didn't know this. I found this out this week. If for whatever reason you decide, I'm going to drop my mortgage insurance.
Right.
And you call your local insurance agent, you cancel it. Here's the deal with that. The bank who owns your loan
Right.
will then issue their version of the home insurance.
Yes.
And don't think it's going to be cheap.
No, it
Because
isn't.
you will have to pay it.
That's right.
Or they take your home. So
Yes.
you can't even do this, even if you think about it. It's
That's
not.
right.
It's not going to work for you. But I get the idea, because there's money going out the door pretty much in every facet of life,
Right.
and you want to cut costs where you can. Insurance, unfortunately, none of us
you
want to
never-
pay it, but it's one of those things you're
need
glad
it.
you have, because something always comes up.
That's right. Exactly. Don't ever cancel it.
Okay, number 10.
You need perfect credit to buy a home.
Right.
Right. So
That's a tough one, because a lot of people, especially
that's what they think.
and it depends on where we are as society and the nation and the world with
Yeah.
all the stuff that goes on. Things happen. You have stuff that happens medically. Anything and everything can bounce that credit all over the place.
Right. So always talk with your lender, your mortgage advisor, whoever you trust in that industry, find out what your credit score is. If you are lacking, or you have a little negative or a blip on there, or you're really close, they can advise you. They can help you. They can guide you on how to build up your credit.
Yeah, and they've got story after story. If you think they've heard it all,
Right.
they probably come close to hearing it all. So they've got great advice for you on how you can build up your credit or get to the number that you need to be at for
Right.
the interest rate,
That's
that you're
right.
looking for, or because here's the deal: you have anybody will make you a deal because they want to pay the bills and keep the lights on at their house. Doesn't mean it's ethical. Doesn't mean it was moral. Doesn't mean it was kind. Doesn't mean that it was thoughtful.
Right.
It just means they want to make money and go to sleep. The other people that have a conscience, have ethics, have boundaries, they'll be like, you know what? Look, I can't in good conscience do this to you. I don't want to see you at this rate, at this price.
Right.
Do me a favor.
Yes.
Do these 10 steps.
Yeah.
And then come back to me in 6 months or a year.
And review it.
And with what you've done, your credit will be this. You'll be able to get this, and I'll sleep better at night knowing that you didn't get gouged. You can actually stay in your home without then losing it.
That's right.
Because you couldn't afford the payments anyway. So you want somebody like that to work with.
That's right.
All right, number 11.
Okay.
Oh, this is a big one.
You'll need a 20% down payment plus closing costs.
Yeah, you hear that number a lot, and yeah, it's true. If the more money you can bring down to the buy of the home, the better off you're going to be.
Right.
That's just for the points you pay, which it's everything's going to affect how much your mortgage is at the end of the day.
Exactly.
But it's not always the case. Like when I got my first home, it was a FHA loan, and I put nothing down. I walked in there with nothing on the table, and everything was taken care of. It was a great experience. I was like, woohoo, first home, not $1, woohoo, And, you get to wait, I believe it was like a whole month before you make your first mortgage payment or what it was. So, yeah, I was like, wow, that process is really easy. I didn't understand any of it.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks, they have their down payment saved, but they don't have their closing costs saved.
Yeah.
So,
and closing costs can vary quite a bit. But there's usually kind of a ballpark, based off of price of the home.
That's a percentage of the price of the house. Yeah.
So
and that's up to us. Again, another benefit working with a real estate agent.
Yeah, the real estate agents.
So we educate you.
They'll tell you what your closing costs should need so that you're not blindsided.
Yes.
And they'll give you a list of things you got to do to prepare yourself in the process of buying a home.
Yes.
Such as getting pre-approved. Which, look at that. I walked right into myth number 12.
Right.
That was by accident, but I'll take it.
Was it?
Actually, it really was. That's good, though.
Right.
All right, so getting pre-approved will hurt your credit. Oh,
right. So
I've
you
heard that one before.
hear about the hits on your credit score.
That's right.
And so you're rate shopping or credit shopping, in other words. So.
Yep. So will it ding the credit? And no, it's a soft credit pull.
It is.
So you're not going to get the big ding on your credit at all. But
yeah, and it's easily explainable.
Yeah.
You're shopping for a mortgage.
I know. It's like a forgivable ding.
Right. But I believe there's a timeline. Did I write that in there? 2 weeks?
Yeah, you did talk about that. So
Right.
what happens is you don't want to get ding, 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 right? That's spread out over a long period of time because then that starts to raise some flags.
Yes.
So a lot of the times the best thing you can do is get to where you do it all within a very short period of time.
Right.
And it goes all within the same time slot. I think that actually happens with some other things in the credit world. We might have to actually interview someone about that, kind of get some details on the back end of those.
That's
how that works.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we'll probably throw that one of our questions.
And I'm sure next week,
Yeah.
our lender will.
Yeah, we can actually pose
touch on this.
that to our lender.
Yeah.
All right, and then we did say here in the paragraph for you that hard credit inquiries will drop your score 1 to 5 points.
Right.
By initiating those pre-approvals within a 2-week window,
Right.
you can reduce the likelihood that more than one hard inquiry will be counted on your credit report.
Right.
Now, that hard pull is different from the soft pull.
Right.
The hard pull is when, okay, no, we're official, we're really doing this.
Yeah.
Your lender looked at your soft pull and goes, okay, you're in the ballpark of this, we can do this for you. But now that it's push comes to shove, now I got to dig. I got to find out everything about you financially. Don't try to hide it because I'll find it out anyway.
It comes out.
It'll come out.
Yeah.
And that's when they give you the advice of don't do anything dramatic. Don't make any purchases.
That's
leave everything alone.
That's right.
Okay, so number 13, there is plenty of time for pre-approval when you find the right house.
Oh, gosh. So
Right.
I, in my previous experience, have always asked whoever I'm working with any type of inquiries, how are you pre-approved? Have you already talked to your lender or mortgage advisor? A lot of real estate agents won't even start showing you properties until you're pre-approved. And there was a time when we were so competitive in the market that you needed that pre-approval. So my advice is don't wait. Go get that pre-approval, because this is not the type of market.
Yeah. It's just good to know what you can afford.
Right.
It's good.
Because
it puts everything in motion. The sooner you can
That's
put things in motion, the quicker things can move when push comes to shove.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to start from ground zero, go love the house, let's buy it tomorrow. Oh,
Right.
there's a process we have to go through.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Joe Bob over here already went through the process. He's making an offer today. And now you're, out of luck because you don't have everything set up yet. So
Yes.
the sooner you get things set up, the
Right.
better off you're going to be.
And you could also be looking at a home that's way out of the price range that you can afford. So you might be
Right.
looking at a 400,000 plus house. Once your credit, the pre-approval's all done, now you're being knocked down to, say, a $300,000 house. And is there differences in the two? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. All right. And is this our last one?
It is.
All
Our
right.
last one. Myth number 14 and our last myth. Professionally, staging a home is necessary for a quick sale.
Now, if you don't know what staging a home means, like I mentioned in that little example I gave you earlier, let's say you're
Yes.
moving out and everything's empty.
Right.
Right. So you got a blank canvas to work with.
Yes.
So you stage it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you put furniture in there, decor, whatever, things on the wall, and it's set up really nice and it's inviting, kind of gives that warm feel.
And it's not cheap,
No,
depending how long that furniture has to stay in there for.
no.
It looks great. It's really nice. And the idea is to get your home staged and get it sold quickly.
I like the numbers though. It actually can help to sell 88% faster
Right. Oh, absolutely.
for an average of 20% more than non-stage homes.
Yeah, and that's according to the National Association of Realtors. In short, NAR.
So it can help, but it's not necessary. Obviously, if you have your own stuff, your
Right.
own decor, it all looks good, then you don't need to be staged. So
And I mean, with all the years that I've been in the real estate industry, my mom was also an interior decorator. I can kind of come in and I start to strategically move things around as well when I start to list a property. Most
yeah. So
just helps.
the big takeaway though is if you want to sell it quicker, price it right.
Right.
Listen to your agent, by the way.
Yes.
There's a lot of cases where I get it. You think your home is worth this because somebody next door told you it was,
Yes.
Or you looked on Zillow and there was a house that was 2 blocks down that sold for this. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
And if you argue with your realtor and you say, no, I'm not budging.
Right.
I paid, $300,000 for this house and I want to sell it for $400,000.
Right.
And we come at you and go, what have you done to the house to make it worth $400,000? And how long have you lived in it? And you say, I've lived in it 6 months and I've done nothing to it.
Right.
We're going to come at you and go, you're not going to get your $100,000. You
Right.
should listen to us.
Right.
Because what will happen is you put it on the market. You twist your realtor's arm and says, well, if you want to do business with me, it's $400K. That's fine. Your realtor will list it and it'll sit. And then what happens, it's weird in this industry. The longer a home sits, the more question comes up as what's wrong with it. And once that
Absolutely.
happens,
Gets overlooked.
you don't want to be in that position.
Right.
It's very strange. It's almost like an in thing, right? That's the in crowd. There's that human thing where everybody's doing it and then it fades and then everybody moves on to the next. So it's almost kind of something like that where you don't want to be in the out crowd. You want to be in the in crowd of selling your home within a short window of time, price it right, make it look good, do what you can, and then move on.
Well, you hire us, you have to trust us. We're coming to you with all the market stats, what's happening in the area.
Yeah.
We know. We've been doing it.
I know. But like I said, as a realtor, we want that relationship with you. And at the end of the day, we're not the boss of you. So,
Right.
if you want to list it at 400, we'll list it.
Yeah.
And we'll still do everything we can as a realtor to do it. We're going to caution you, though, you probably won't get what you want for it, but hey, we'll do this. And sometimes we'll
Right.
negotiate with you. Say, look, we'll do it your way. We'll go for 2 weeks.
Or a week.
Yeah. And we'll see what kind of interest we get. And
Yeah.
if we get 0 interest, that is a huge red flag.
Yes.
Huge. You can get interest on doing absolutely nothing, just like you get interest on doing open houses, sprucing up this, sprucing up that. You have to have interest, period. If you have none, 0,
Right.
nada,
What does that tell you?
Your biggest red flag, that means you're overpriced. That means no one even wants to waste their time to even look at it. They scoff at the price per square footage, based
Right.
off the area or what it is that you're offering, and they don't want to waste their
right.
time. So therefore, you get no movement.
That's right. Absolutely.
So, but anyway, hey, that was our common real estate myths for the day.
Yeah.
So,
So
pretty good topics.
Yeah. If anybody out there has any topics they want to know more about, let us know.
Yeah, just always
us a
type them in the
message.
comment section. Send us a message as well.
Yeah.
And of course, at any time, top right corner says call in Texas today. So if you need help buying a home, selling a home, or you just need information like a market analysis, you want to say, hey, what is our home worth?
Right. How much equity do I have built up in my property?
Yeah, you can call or text or even visit our website, TeamTuttleRealty.com. It's very easy, very straightforward. You just type in your address and it gives you everything you need to know. It tells you all about the Joneses. It will break down. It's really interesting. The technology today is a lot different than it used to be.
Yes.
A lot of this stuff was not available to you at all. So you didn't know all this information. But now, I mean, it gets detailed. And when I pulled out like my house, I was like, whoa, it's worth that much?
Right.
And I'm looking around and you're looking at me going, are you sure? I'm like, let's sell.
Let's sell.
Let's sell. But that means you got to turn around and buy. And I'm like, So that's another thing. All right. I guess that's about it. Anything else from you?
No, nothing for me.
Okay.
Just a thank you to Jamie Ferguson.
Yeah,
Ferguson Roof System.
Yeah, for sponsoring our live show here on Saturdays. So we appreciate him. We had him on last week, so if you missed that,
Right.
make sure you go back and look at the interview. It's in the video section here. We upload them also to YouTube, our YouTube channel, which is also Team Tuttle Real Estate. But here on Facebook, there's a video section. You can go in there and look at all the videos we've ever done to cover all the different topics that we've had and some inside interviews. We've got more inside interviews planned for pretty much anything related to owning a home, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Not just the home buying and selling process,
Right.
but just the owning, maintenance, and upkeep process too.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll anyone and everyone that on our preferred partners that we work with, if they want to do it, we'll interview them live or we'll go to their business or whatever, and we'll get some topics.
Right. Well, we got a big week next week planned, so be sure to join us.
Yeah, on the mortgage side, we'll probably end up talking about rates. We'll talk about some things you don't know that you can do, right? And terminology that you may not even have heard of, like, is it PAR?
PAR?
Yeah,
PAR.
like PAR, for example.
And I'm sure we'll talk about rate buy down and
arms, and I think there was a 2-to-1. There's all kinds of terms in the industry.
2-1 buy down.
Yeah, that you're going to hear, and the point of all that is to save you money to get you the home that you want.
Right.
It's like a workaround of the whole system itself. You got your straight rate, but okay, that's a good starting point. Now, what can you do for me after that? And then that's where they will scramble to say, we can do this and that, and if you do this, then we can do this, and so they'll.
And you might be surprised because it might be more affordable than you think.
Right. Their goal is to save you as much money as possible to make that deal happen. So they're in your favor.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of renters right now are a little hesitant because of the mortgage rates. So if you're renting and you want to get into home ownership, be sure to tune in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Next week.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be good information. All right. Well, listen, we got to get out of here.
Yes.
But it was great to having you. Thanks again for stopping by. And we look forward to seeing you on the next Coffee Talk.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody. Bye.